Woman had only peeked in to see a group of unarmed women desperately imprisoned in cages. Even the youngest children. Unbelievable in other places, but not at all unusual here. Because this is a monstrous country, with resources at a premium. The ruthless rulers have ordered the elimination of all children and pregnant women. In order to survive, Mia had to make a bold decision. She hid in a container truck and joined the surviving migrants. But just as everyone was imagining a safe escape, the container truck suddenly stopped running smoothly. Everyone stood up nervously as if something terrible was outside the door. Instead of being afraid, the ignorant Mia looked out of the hole curiously. But she never thought that this small action would lead to a deadly disaster. The prosecutor, who used to be reasonable, suddenly started to be more serious. In the face of the driver begged the prosecutor, on the one hand intentionally placated while on the other hand, told his subordinates to continue to open the door. But as the door slowly opened, the van that should have been full of stowaways was now empty. The prosecutor searched the van himself, but he couldn't find anything. But the driver of the truck was sweating in fear that the prosecutor would find out what was going on next. The prosecutor was surprised. Was he really wrong? In order to confirm his suspicions, he first pretended to come outside the car to get some air and then walked straight to the end of the car and then ordered to fire. With the sound of a gunshot, the location of the bullet hole was far away from the prosecutor. It is obvious that there is a partition in the cargo compartment. Mia had a bad feeling about this, so she took the opportunity to hide on top of the crate. Meanwhile, the triumphant prosecutor was already in front of the partition with his men. I thought he was going to shoot them right there. But the prosecutor's face changed and he approached the partition gently and persuaded the stowaways to surrender, promising to give them all a guarantee of safety. However, the prosecutor waited for a long time, but there was no response, and just as he turned away in disappointment, a girl suddenly opened the door of the partition. The next instant, countless bullets erupted, turning the narrow cargo hold into an inferno. Mia on the cargo compartment could only cover her mouth until the door closed, but she did not dare to relax for fear that her turn would come next. Luckily, the container Mia was in was successfully loaded onto the ship. After confirming her safety, the first thing she did was to call her husband, who had lost contact with her. But there was no answer on the other end of the phone, and the woman had a bad feeling in her heart. Looking at the ship that was about to set sail, Mia, who was always calm, fell into a daze, while the fetus that was still in her womb hinted that Mia was not alone. So she picked up her husband's jacket and sniffed it, and then Mia fell into a deep sleep with her husband by her side. Unbeknownst to her, the woman was in for an even bigger disaster.